I think a lot of players overlook is a lot of people have a routine or a pre-shot routine, if you will, but they're thinking of it more of the physical steps. Like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm making my rehearsal. I'm standing here. I'm walking in like this. And that's obviously part of it, but it's more of the top people, what they're doing mentally. That's the shot process and how they're working their mind through each one of those zones. So our consistency formula, we have it set up. It's kind of like a reverse traffic light. Your first zone of your routine is the red zone. That's, hey, if you run a red light in your car, it's going to be disaster. Well, players run decision-making all the time and never really get clear on a strategy, and that's equal disaster on the golf course. So we got red first. You got to stop and really make a decision. So again, as we talked earlier, sensing and intuition have different ways of working through that zone to keep themselves at the best. If you're a sensor, get small, get specific, be getting clear with the start line, finish line. If you're an intuitive, we need to really be establishing our zones and developing our end goals for this shot here. Then you have your yellow zone, which is preparation, and then as we bridge that gap into the green zone. But each one of those zones have different things you need to be doing mentally. And with Mental Golf Type, we've actually built the blueprints out for all the types. And so you'll know what to do in the red zone correctly and what you do when you get stressed and what to shift and how to shift that. And literally your shot process now starts becoming a tangible thing. And so the big difference between, like, say, a really productive tour player and somebody trying to bridge that gap, that tour player is executing a committed shot process 90% of the time on the course and 90% over the 4 days. That's the difference maker. That's what separates. If you're looking at, let's say, Korn Ferry, they're at about 80, 85%. Really, really good. They're right there knocking on the door, but there's 2 or 3 shots in their round that are going into these stress states that could be detrimental to their order of merit, to them making their money, all these different things. And so when you look at most golfers, they're not running a mental process through the shot process. So they're not giving themselves the best opportunity to succeed every time. Those pros make plenty of misses, but because their commitment level and them knowing how to get themselves in the right state is better than most, and they're bringing that 90% of the time, their misses are smaller, their dispersions are smaller, their mistakes are a lot more manageable. But that's really that threshold. And so I think the routine would be your steps, your physical steps. But when you have a shot process, that's combining the physical and the mental, and you know what to do to bring out your best. Mental Golf Type helps it to be easier. We're cutting out years for you. So you don't need to be going through 10 years of experience and trying to sift through the good and the bad and hope to be able to identify your patterns.